Welcome back. You're with us here on Opening Fire. 15 points on the Nifty 6531. The big story, of course, is Infosys, which is selling off quite a bit. Manish Sontalia is Vice President and Fund Manager at Motilal Oswal AMC. He's joining us right now to run us through what he's making of the market. Manish, thanks very much. Great to have you with us here. Prashant, this side. Let's start with Infosys. Yeah. Seems like a post-results day from a couple of quarters back. I'm sure you own the stock. What's the sense? I mean, is the cut justified?
Prashant, it's difficult to say whether they are managing expectations or whether this is going to be that way it has been projected. So 11.5% lower end of the revenue guidance means that you are going to see a degrowth in the fourth quarter, and going forward into the next year, you're going to have a challenge even achieving a 10% growth if this was to sustain in the fourth quarter. So I think the fourth quarter numbers are going to be very critical, and at least a 2% quarter-on-quarter growth is what the markets are at least building in as far as Infosys numbers are concerned. Now, if that was not to happen, at 11.5% lower end of the guidance, I mean the markets are justified because you're going to see a 6 to 7% earnings cut, and valuations at 175 rupees, 176 rupees for FY14 means that the fall is justified.
But what's your sense? Is it a case of managing expectations? Or, I mean, there is something genuinely wrong?
See, out of the three levers which Mr. Murthy has articulated for improving Infosys going into the future, the easiest one is what they are acting on, which is cutting costs. The two most important ones, and which are the difficult ones, is increasing sales effectiveness and increasing delivery productivity, which means using of tools, platforms to enhance productivity. These two are the difficult part. They have pulled the easiest lever, and which is to cut down on costs. Whether they can cut down costs going forward, I mean, remains to be seen. A lot will depend on how they are going to increase their utilization, how they are going to increase their sales, and what sort of deal wins they are going to see. Because one of the things Mr. Murthy yesterday said was that he was not very happy about the deal ramp-ups and the deal wins, and particularly so in the retail space, which is roughly around 16% of the revenue. So, a lot of it is going to be known only post fourth quarter numbers. Initial commentary which has come out of Mr. Murthy seems to be that of a disappointment from the company's front. He has articulated that benefits are going to show up only from third quarter FY16, which means that there's a lot of time when medium-term predictability on Infosys's revenues as well as profits are going to be difficult. So it's going to be a volatile stock. I don't think all is lost as yet, but things are going to be in a limbo for that stock for some time.
How does this impact other technology stocks and their earnings outlook for them? Or, I mean, as has been shown, when Infi is disappointed and others have done well, that might be true this time around as well. So it's different earnings trajectories for different companies. So it could be the opposite. With earnings estimates being brought down for Infi, interest could shift to other stocks.
It could very well be that way, because our understanding and our interaction with the other managements like HCL Tech or a Wipro or a Tech Mahindra or a TCS don't seem to suggest that there's any problem with the tech sector per se. Demand environment continues to be very strong, and out of the tone which was there from Mr. Murthy yesterday, it seems to be now very clear that it's a company specific problem. So people moving out of Infosys into other tech names could very well be the case.
What's the view on markets, Funny? What's the view on markets, Manish? Are you bullish? Are you cautious? Does one need to be wary?
You know that.
Yeah. No, but since the last time we chatted, the Nifty I think is up about 250 odd points or so. So I'm just...
Yeah. So I think markets still have some way to go on the upside before the elections. So bulk of the move will come before the elections. It's just about to pause. Until and unless something very serious can alter on the global front can really upset the apple cart, the momentum is on the upside. So that is how I think the markets will behave. Any dips into the markets will be bought into. You just got to buy into the right stocks, I would think.
So which are those right stocks? No change needed as we approach elections, I mean that important event?
So I think if you see correction in your IT names, which you are seeing currently, money moving out of certain pharma names, because of money moving into beta, I mean, those are the spaces to buy into. You just buy more number of shares at lower prices of the same stocks. I mean, I as a matter of strategy is not going to get positioned into a beta just yet. It's more of a hope rally into the beta names. Nothing really is changing at the ground. I mean, how can one justify for a P expansion when the earnings itself is in doubt for the entire space per se? There is a lot of hope post-election, 6 months down the line, things are going to improve. But I would wait for the elections, policy initiatives, money moving at the ground level as far as the capex or the beta related sectors are concerned. Till that point in time, it's the same sectors, perhaps buying them at lower levels.
Manish, I'm coming back to you. There is news flow on Sun Pharma, which I just want to sort of look at for one bit. There is, I think, a fresh import alert which has come in. Stocks down 5.5% or so. Pankaj is with us. Pankaj, quickly run us through what's happened.
Well, Prashant, these are just initial news that we are getting in that, there has been an import alert for Sun Pharma. It's in the Karakhadi unit that they have for all the products that they have. It is coming in on wire agency and it is something that we are picking up from there. The counter is down about 5% Not really sure how big this facility is. We'll get into details of this facility in just a bit, but definitely, this was one company along with Lupin that, people used to always say that they don't have FDA issues. But now probably we are trying to get into touch with the management to try and find out which were the key drugs from these products. For right now, you spoke about the Doxylene news in the morning. The counter reacted negatively and now down another 2% post a 3% decline that we saw for Sun Pharma earlier.
Any idea, the profile of products, the size, etc.?
Well, Prashant, they don't have a lot of facilities, so definitely any facility...
It will be important.
Definitely any facility that they have will be important. I have spoken to my sources in Sun Pharma. They'll just get back to me, with the sort of product line that they have. By that time, we'll also try and find out that which are the key important products from this facility.
Yeah, okay, that's Sun Pharma 574.4. And they have another import alert, right, for another one of their facilities, or...
Prashant, they had an import alert for Carico's one of the facilities.
Okay.
So it was not very materially big in terms of an impact. But this one probably will get details. But as of now, looks to be slightly surprising to the market because as I told you that Lupin and Sun Pharma were perceived to be two companies that really, don't have any such sort of impact.
Manish, any thoughts on Sun? I don't know if you're familiar with this.
And this has hit the wires some time back. I think it's not very significant because the Karakhadi facility does manufacture cephalosporins and is an antibiotic facility, not a very big one. So most of the products are not of very significant size, coming out of this facility. It's more of a sentimental issue at the moment for Sun because, as your person was saying, that Lupin and Sun were considered to be sacrosanct as far as processes are concerned. So it's more sentimental, I would think.
Yeah, so it's basically a sentiment issue. Stocks down 5.5. If you like the stock before, this would be an opportunity to buy, right? Which you were saying about the market and stocks that you'd like and what you'd like to do. Buy the same ones if you get good prices.
Yeah, correct.
Yeah. I want your specific thoughts on banks, Manish. What's the call there? So people, a lot of people say infrastructure and you should buy infra names because they're poised for recovery and things like that. So what about banks, especially PSU banks, which have got big exposure to power, to infrastructure, they leverage to any real economic recovery? But PSU banks have hardly participated. The most commonly cited reason nowadays is equity dilution because of the capital all these banks will need to raise.
That's very correct. But if you want to play the investment cycle themes, not getting specific into the capital goods or the infra names, it's a better way to play the investment cycle recovery. So whether it be PSU banks or private sector banks, there are problems galore for PSU banks. You have asset quality concerns not going away for at least 2 to 3 quarters. You have a huge capital dilution coming in. It remains to be seen how government is going to mobilize the amount of money which these banks are going to require. But perhaps the markets, in its run-up and chasing beta, have classified the PSU banking pack as a whole into the beta space and lifted the stock prices up. I think it's more of a trading bet. Very specifically, there could be investment bets, but one should look at PSU banks only if they have a 2 to 3 year point of view. I don't think anything material is going to happen within the next 2-3 quarters. But it could be a proxy for playing the revival investment cycle.
It could be a proxy, right? But doesn't that hold true for most things? I mean, you have to have at least a 2-year view from here.
I mean, if the thesis plays out the way the markets are looking at it, change of guard at the center and investment revival, etc. Yes, the stock prices will hold at current levels or even higher levels. But if it was not to happen within 6 months of the new government coming in, you don't really see policies coming into place, or you don't see money moving at the ground level, then maybe stock prices will again revert back. So, markets are trying to pre-run the move or anticipated actions of the government 6 months down the line, 12 months down the line. That is why they are running up. Whether they are going to hold at elevated levels, time will tell.
Time will tell. Any other stock that you'd want to talk about? I'm sort of leaving the field wide open for you. Any interesting name which you're thinking about? Yeah.
I think, the off late 2 to 3 days, you have seen the metal stocks actually correct. I think they can correct even further. So, surprising move was on the iron ore side, 10% drop in one single day. This could be quite vulnerable for some of the metal companies like Tisco or your Hindalcos of the world. So, situation in China is somewhat alarming, and that needs to be kept into mind when we are trying to project a very bullish view about Indian markets. Obviously, softening of commodity prices does help India. That will actually matter also for crude oil and the oil and gas space as a whole. But this space looks quite vulnerable.
Metals looks pretty vulnerable. Fair enough. Now, I was thinking about ideas. I mean, any ideas on the buy side, which doesn't get discussed very often, and yeah.
So I have been, we have been doing some work on the internet e-commerce space and, proxy plays to that in the listed arena, and we are still doing some work. But this space looks quite interesting, and our interaction with some of the Chinese counterparts, this e-commerce space, how they picked up in China, and maybe India is just at the threshold of that sort of a boom coming through. And the valuations, etc., don't really seem to be expensive at all, or they're quite inexpensive. And GST coming in 2 to 3 years down the line will mean that a lot of unorganized players are going to move out of this space. They wouldn't be able to survive, and most of the business is going to come to these established big players. So the case of earnings moving up very sharply, and there would be a case of PE re-rating happening very sharply. So, this space looks quite interesting. I don't want to give names, but because we have really not zeroed down on anyone. Then.
Yeah. No, so that's even better. So because the common refrain is, well, in the listed space, what can you buy? Got maybe 2 or 3 names. But you said that proxy, e-commerce proxies.
Yeah, logistics is one space which is an e-commerce proxy, no?
Ah, okay. Right. So you're referring specifically to that, not your Just Dials, etc.
No, even Just Dials, etc. But you don't have too many names. Most of them are the unlisted space.
Unlisted, yeah. But there's a lot of interest there in unlisted, right?
Absolutely.
But-
And the opportunity, size of opportunity seems to be very, very big.
Yeah, seems to be very big. Absolutely. Thanks very much, Manish. Great to have you with us here.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Let's take a quick break. We are back in two. The Sensex is up about 20, 21 points. Nifty is up a little bit, not very much. Infosys is the big loser.